Hello everyone and welcome to Health Matters on Channels Television. We are so glad you could join us. I am Mary Alale Yusuf. Recently in Niger State, 28 children comprising 17 females and 11 males under the age of 5 were reported to have died as a result of drinking water which was contaminated by lead. The victims were reported to have had lead levels 17 to 22 times higher than the 10 micrograms per deciliter limit set by the World Health Organization. The lead was leached in the water, a method used by villagers who were mining gold illegally in the area. The most notable case of lead poisoning in the country occurred in Zamfara State between March and June 2010, when at least 163 people died. Dr. Doyin Ogunyemi is in the house to help us understand lead poisoning, its ramifications, and what we get it from. Dr. Ogunyemi is a public health practitioner with the Youth Care Project and a member of the Association of Public Health Physicians, Lagos State Branch. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Now, this is, unprecedented in the country. First was Zamfara, then Niger State, and I want you to help us understand what particular organs does lead poisoning affect?
Well, lead poisoning is one of those, lead itself goes through almost every part of the body. Okay, so you have it right from affects major organs, the kidneys, you have it affect the brain, the bones, the teeth, where it can actually settle.
The teeth?
Yes. The teeth and the bone, it stays there and it can be there for a very long time, even after the ones in the blood has left. And it can affect the muscles as well and the nerves. And so that's it's just all over the body, affecting the major functions of the body.
Now, it's not everyone who goes about trying to mine gold. Are there other sources of lead, contact with lead or lead poisoning apart from gold mining?
Yeah, there are other sources of lead. Since the early 1980s, many of these sources of lead have been changed in terms of what they contain. So petrol, so you could have leaded petrol, but now we have unleaded petrol.
Even in this country?
Yes, unleaded petrol. Then you have even the pencils that we write with, that the black part of it, could contain lead. Also batteries. Now we have a lot of dry cell batteries. The wet batteries contains lead. Spray paints, what they used to spray cars. Up till now, that a lot of it still contains some lead. So the people who paint cars are really at risk of that. People who also, the panel beaters who work with these metals also have lead in it. So you have lead, even some people, the local Tyrol that is used for painting the eyes in some places, they still use that and it contains a lot of lead. Some children toys, because lead has this property to give colors.
Okay.
A variety of colors. So
they get the lead in different colors, or it can be colored differently.
It's a property of that iron to be able to glow and give a color that you want very well. So paints, and now the paints we use in our houses are no longer the leaded paints, but before there was lead in those paints, and once they start chipping off the wall and dusting off, then the lead becomes dangerous.
Some time ago there was a lot of uproar about leaded toys from a certain country. They were exporting a lot of leaded toys. There was a lot of noise about it. Are they still painting toys with leaded paints? You can see that there are, so many different sources of lead there in the picture. There's petrol, like you said, paints, and other sources, toys, even some things in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Is it possible for that lead to get into the kitchen water?
It can, because, like I said, if, for instance, the paint in that kitchen, the wall begins to chip off.
Okay, peeling paint.
Peeling paint, very dangerous. Then the dust in it gets into water, gets into food. Okay, so lead can be ingested, it can be inhaled, and it can be ingested through food or contaminated water. So those are sources, direct contact, or the mucous membranes, when the lead gets into the eyes, the nose, the mucous membranes in the nose and mouth. Then you also get lead into the body. Now, all of these are small amounts. When lead in the body is still for children at the level of less than 10 micrograms per deciliter, it may not be dangerous. Okay, but in these cases, that the oil processing, which is what they do illegally, and they've domesticated it, they're now getting money from doing it, and so they've involved family in oil processing. That prolonged exposure.
I even read that some of these children are made to pound the lead in their own mortars and pestles, using their pestles, and also to mill them in their mills.
You know, after they have broken the rock, they have to grind it. That process of grinding is where they really involve a lot of children, either in the mortar or grinding some sort. You know, it's the poverty level, I think. You know, just get some rock, let's get something out of this, and the children are used to and after grinding, then they put in water, sluicing, it's cold, where it is really washed. After washed, is dried again. You know, it's a whole process that through this process, the person who is doing it is not protected.
And as you can see, it looks like it causes a lot of environmental damage. That's a lot of gouging out of earth there.
Certainly.
But these are adults. Now, my question is it more dangerous to children than adults? Because adults are digging the ore themselves, but the deaths we heard of were all children, under 5.
Now, the level to which it gets to an adult, where it begins to become symptomatic enough to cause any trouble for the adult, it is up to 60 micrograms per deal. At that point, then it starts getting toxic. By 45 micrograms per deal, you're flagging a red flag in terms of level. But for the children, much lower than that, they're beginning to experience the symptoms. You know, and you know, the symptoms are so non-specific. Somebody complains of vomiting, abdominal pain, it's, you know, colic, that means it's, you know, grinding comes and goes.
It grips
and
then
them, it releases them, weakness. All of this could pass for malaria. It could pass for any of these other symptoms. So they're just complaining non-specifically until it reaches a certain level. So in children, when it's getting to the point where it's approaching 40 micrograms, you know, then they begin to have seizures, and by that time they are getting to toxic.
But you know, seizures could also be mistaken for malaria.
Convulsions, all of that could be, well, what's wrong with this person? So when you don't have the high index of suspicion that something is wrong here, then you keep treating the person until they die. That's the reason why children are more susceptible. And I also want to say something. There's this, you know, concept now, which is the One Health. And that concept is saying that animals and persons, you know, veterinarians and human doctors should work together, because they found out that when they went back to take history, especially in Zamfara, they found out that before humans started dying, when they didn't know what was killing them, they found out that dogs were disappearing. So, and it could not, it may be dogs, animals, once you see that they're getting sick themselves, because they are probably going to drink from the open water and eat something that the dust of the lead has already contaminated. So they're saying that all of that should start giving some suspicion. Let's work together. We're seeing that the animals are getting sick.
So if you look at those animals closely enough, it might point you to the human being in time to stop the problem.
Yes, you may need to take samples. We may think that animal has died, and so, you know, take samples. You find this lead, then there'll be an alert. Then everybody, you seal off such areas, and then you can then work.
Speaking about the animals themselves, let's assume an animal has drunk leaded water or eaten some leaded food. We'll get to that in a minute. And it's killed and eaten by human beings. Does that automatically move the lead to the human being, or is there some sort of process, you know, in the cooking and preparation that washes out the lead?
Funny with lead, it's not a bacterial contamination where or some that you can say heating takes care of. What really gets lead out of what it is on is to chelate the lead. You're given a chemical that binds to the lead and is then excreted. You know, so eating dead animals, if the animal is sick or dead, you already, I mean...
No, how about not sick, just, you know, it has freshly consumed some large amount of lead?
Then I don't think that if the animal is not sick enough, then the levels are not high enough in the animal enough to affect the people themselves. Yes,